Hey, welcome to the Sharpe Way show. I know it's 7:30. Sorry, I have run a little bit late today, staying crazy busy trying to get things done. But I am still here with you this evening, not 7, but 7:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. So you're looking at my mug yet again. Thank you so much for joining me. You know what I'm going to ask you? I do it every time. Please keep doing it. Like, comment, share. That's what I want you to do to the best of your ability. It does matter. The more you do this, the more the algorithms pick this up, the more we can. Maybe I don't get canceled. I would like to not be canceled. So help me to not be canceled. Like, comment, share on all of the internet things that you may be watching this on. Please do that so that we don't get canceled. Also, help me out if you can, please. Sponsor the show if you can. If you're there and you got that kind of cash, your Trump bucks are coming in. That's awesome. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. $10, $25, $100, whatever you can do. If you're making the big bucks, throw me $100. If not, no worries. You can just head over to theadvocates.org human respect test. Yes, the human respect test. The link, actually, direct link, is actually in the show notes. So just click on that. Go there. Take that human respect test. Boy, we need it more than ever now. Take that test right now and share it with others. And that's free. And it makes me happy, sponsors happy, everybody's happy. If you are a CBD user and you do think that's a great part to your regimen, head over to grownselection.com. Libertarian-owned business. Make a purchase. Creams, powders, whatever's your thing. Love it. Do that. Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Today, I want to bring up a couple of things regarding canceling Trump. And in my view, more importantly, I know some of you may disagree with this, but more importantly, canceling Trump's supporters. Now, obviously, I get some people who are mad at Trump. You want to beat him up and cancel him. I get it. I understand that emotion. I do. The question becomes twofold. One, is it going to be helpful, right? Is it helpful in the long run to cancel him? And maybe it is. I'm actually open. I'm not as concerned about the Trump canceling part. I am, but not that much. What I'm really concerned about is now we're considering canceling all his supporters. We're looking at, there are people now talking literally about, well, there were Congress people who were checking out, the Capitol and doing recon. That's the charges now for the people coming in, and that the congressional the Congress people who actually supported Trump even after the riot, and we got to make them pay. And look, if you're a congressperson and you took a bad stance, and your constituents don't like you anymore, think you're wrong, and vote you out, I'm good with that. That's fine, right? You have to run in your area, and if your area says you did the wrong thing and you got to go, okay, that's how the game is played. I start getting concerned when all of a sudden the guilt by association starts popping around. That begins to bother me. It starts to make me afraid when I see that. That becomes McCarthyism at that point. Now we're starting to have a problem. But I want to go one step further than even that. And the congressman, again, bad, but I'm more concerned about this new, you might have heard this before. Now, everyone who was there, whose picture was there, they're starting to get fired. Now they're getting fired because you showed up there. Again, I want to be clear. I make a distinction, and I did this to be fair. I hope to be fair to me. I hope so. I did this during the summer riots too. The people who did the bad stuff should be punished. Those who had to be out there thinking they were doing the right thing, they shouldn't be punished. You started throwing Molotov cocktails, you started burning places down, pay the price for that. You got people killed, pay the price for that. Same thing here. If these are guys who went there to do something bad, did something bad, make them pay. Otherwise, are we going to now fire all of them too? I mean, is that where we're going? But of all of those things, I went down the road of my worries. Now my biggest worry, lists. We now have the no-fly list. And now we're going to put all the people who were there on the no-fly list. So now, and again, not convicted. Not convicted. Just, we saw, the FBI saw your picture there. So now you can't get in the airplane anymore. Now we can't fly. I am getting concerned that this is going to get way out of hand. And on two fronts, right? One, I don't want the pendulum to swing so far, right? That's one. And two, it's just unfair. I was against no-fly lists before it was cool to be against no-fly lists, right? I'm not about that. Oh, because your name happens to, sound like you're from a Muslim country, now you can't be on the, you can't fly all of a sudden, right? You haven't been convicted of anything, arrested of anything. And now it's happening here. And the funny part is, if you go back, I don't know, 2 years or whatever, 3 years, most of the people who were supporting Trump were like, oh, no-fly list, great idea. Keep those terrorists out. Now they're like, wait a minute, there's no due process. Yeah, there's no due process. I didn't like it when there was no due process for the terrorist guy you thought was terrorist, or now when they think you're a terrorist. I was against it both times, and I'm still against it. I am worried about all those things. I'm worried about, are Congress people not going to be able to stand behind whoever they think should be president now because they risk also getting punished? And I don't mean in the voting booth. You're supposed to be punished there, right? That's completely fine. If your constituents think Trump's a bad guy, we don't like you anymore, get rid of you. I'm fine. But are they going to start putting charges? And the biggest thing I'm hearing is civil charges. You start putting civil charges against Congress people, here's the biggest problem. They're not going to pay for it. They're going to raise money for it, pay for all this stuff, and then get hammered in some way, shape, or form. It's not the answer. When it comes to the Congress people, if your constituents don't like you anymore, then you got to go. That's fine. Are we going to start punishing these people now? I'm seeing it. Now, unless, again, I make an exception. If there's obvious criminal activity, if some congressman said, there's the bad guy, go get him. Okay, I have no idea if that happened. But if that kind of thing happened, fine. Otherwise, why are we doing this? I brought this up during my A Free Solution radio show that I do, my terrestrial radio show that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon out of Western New York. The idea that the Treaty of Versailles in World War I was brutal against Germany, and that's what caused World War II. Do we want World War I to cause World War II? Do we want this thing to cause more? I say no. I say no. Because if we start this, what's next? Gun control? Every president now gets not just criminal charges, but civil charges. I mean, this could go really deep. Wow, a lot of comments. I want to grab some of these comments. But guys, I'm concerned. That's what I'm saying, is I'm really concerned. And I wonder, am I the only one who thinks this, right? Is it just me? So Shellie Jack says, always remember that censorship is a tool of fascists and almost never leads to actual violence. Yes. What was that saying? Riots are the voice of the unheard, right? MLK, or was it Jefferson? I think I got my right. Right. If peaceful revolution is not an option, no. If peaceful change is not an option, revolution becomes the only answer. Something like that. I'm misquoting, but you know what I'm saying. I'm sure somebody will find that quote. But yes, I am concerned about that, Mr. Jack. I am concerned. But that was the next piece, right? If you're shutting down Trump, right? Twitter shutting down Trump. Facebook shutting down Trump? I don't like it, but I get it. I don't think it's illegal. I got it. They think it's whatever. But now when you start making those next steps, and now everybody who was supporting Trump starts going down, you're going to push people off to whatever is the other thing they're going to find, because they're going to find something, and then we're never going to talk, right? And then we're never going to talk. And I think that is something that also drives me crazy. I really don't want that to be the issue, right? Canceling Trump and supporters off the bat, isn't that the free market? I think it is. I wasn't talking, John, about whether it's if you saw what I wrote in the question. I wasn't saying that it can't be done. My question really is, should it be done? Right? Should it be done? Right now, the PGA is coming off. New York City has decided that they're not going to do anything with him anymore. Can New York City do it? Yeah, of course they can. But should they? And is it right? Right? New York City is public, right? Literally, it's my taxpayer dollars. I'm concerned about that too. I have lots of concerns here, right? I really do. I feel like this is not. I guess my biggest worry is this is cancel culture going so far, and cancel culture just isn't. Cancel culture is a result of zero tolerance, Zero tolerance policies always make things worse. And my worry is, will this make things worse? Can I, as a private citizen, choose to cancel someone? Of course I can. As an organization, I can, but there are some nuances with the Twitters of the world. But can the PGA decide they don't want Trump anymore? Sure, they should. It's free market. I agree. Should they? And let me give you a couple of things I'm talking about here. If I can show you, this is what my mayor said. My mayor said that this is how he dealt with it. Mayor of New York City.
In light of this criminal act, the city of New York has determined that it is within our power to terminate all contracts with the Trump organization.
And look at that. What bothers me most about this, and many things bother me about this, but instead of just going, this is what we're choosing to do, they put a picture of him, tie off, hat in hand, canceled. This is purposefully, ha ha, got you. You know, this is not helping, is what I'm saying. Even if you believe that New York City should do this, and you might believe that, right? I get it. A lot of people hate Trump, and maybe you think New York City should do this. Okay. Is this required? Is the canceled piece required? It just makes things worse.
So we will no longer be doing any business at all. By the contract language, we have the right to terminate contracts, obviously, if a criminal act has been committed, and a criminal act has been committed. So
a criminal act has been committed. And no, a criminal act has been alleged. That's true. Alleged. That's true. Committed? That's your opinion.
Goodbye to the Trump organization. We're not doing any business with you. By the way, a lot of other people are not doing any business with you any longer. One of the contracts the Trump organization has had up to now is for a golf course in the
PGA.
Bronx. And in that contract,
and again, look, to be forward, Trump's not going to go broke, right? And I know some people going, so what? He's not going to go broke. Yeah, he may not go broke, but that it really isn't my point. My point is this what we want to do? And maybe we do. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit torn by this. I mean, to John's point, it's a free market, but is New York City the free market? You know, no, it's taxpayers, right? Can taxpayers government, can it decide to discriminate, but I can't? It seems a little bit unfair, right? It seems a little bit unfair. Cancel Larry Sharpe. Don't do it, John. Don't cancel me. I don't want to get canceled, right? But I might get canceled. I hope I don't. But thank you, John, for it. I appreciate that. Yes. Does it help to take a test more than once? Oh, if you take the human respect test, sharing it's helpful, Michelle. Yes, sharing it is the key. We want more people to take it. So cancel liberals. I would like to cancel no one, actually. I would prefer. My preference would be cancel no one. But that may be too much to ask, right? I want everyone talking. I want everyone, having conversations. I don't want to cancel anybody, but I'm obviously living in, a fantasy world. Yes. I say New York needs to impeach Cuomo next. Man, that would be awesome, John. But that ain't happening. I don't think so. Canceling, calling for doxing, retribution. Are you effing kidding me? Sadly, Stacey, I'm not. And that's my issue. I know people want to do it, and it is the free market. It's true. But doxing, retribution, if you say to yourself, Stacey, you don't like Trump or whatever, I don't know your politics. For sake of argument, you don't like Trump. If you don't like Trump and you say, you know what? I'm not going to any of his stuff. I'm not watching any of his shows. I'm not doing anything. That's the free market. You should do that. Absolutely. If you hate Trump, you should do that. My worry is now New York City is not giving anyone a chance to do that. Right? Not giving. Now, if they had done it, and here is what would have made sense to me. And if I was the mayor and I was dumping Trump for whatever reason, I wouldn't go, goodbye, Trump, ha, ha, ha. What I might say is something like, I'm worried that this is New York City. And because of that, people aren't going to go to Trump organization, events. So because I'm afraid of New York City losing money, we're going to have to end the Trump organization's relationship with us. That at least makes sense if that were true. That would at least make sense. I mean, because that's then trying to save taxpayer money or to get the most out of taxpayer money. This makes total sense. But that's not why he did it. He did it because Trump's evil, so I'm stopping it. Now, to be forward, I don't know the details of this, meaning how good the organization was. But if the organization was doing a good job for New York City, again, I don't know if that's true, you've just hurt New York City to punish Trump. You just hurt New York City because now you have to go find new vendors, rebuild relationships, maybe deal with lawsuits if the Trump organization sues you. So you've actually lost more than anything else. That's a problem. Yes. Put your hand over someone else's mouth, see how they react. Correct, William. Yes. And again, but just to be clear, we are the party of consent. If you want that kind of thing, all good, as long as you're asking for it. No worries. No worries. You want to do that kind of thing? Good on you. But yeah, valid point. 100%. Yes, cancel his base. The Republican Party needs to take back the party from extremists and statists. Isaac, I've heard that many times. You aren't the first person to tell me that. The amount of people who have said things like Republican Party's dead, GOP's dead. I've seen that throughout social media like there's no tomorrow. I saw it on TV. I saw it. Was it Fox? No. I forgot. It was one. It was local station. It was a local station like Fox 5 here in New York, or maybe it was NBC. People talking about, oh, we got it from Twitter. People saying, you know, GOP is dead. I don't think the GOP is dead. I don't. I do think they're going to take a short-term hit. I think that's true. Anytime a party loses, they take a short-term hit. This one will be stronger because Trump was such a big part of the party. There is still a big part. They're going to take a hit for sure. I don't think they're finished, though. I do think that the populist side of the Republican Party is going to have less power this year, coming up this year, 2021, and maybe even 2022. They're going to have to regroup to figure out whatever their answers are. So I do think some of that's going to happen. Agree with Trump or not, this sets a very dangerous precedent. Thank you, Joseph. That is my issue. Thank you. That's what I mean, right? When I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was John. When John was talking about the idea of free market, yeah, you can. I'm not saying you can't, but it sets a bad precedent, a dangerous one. It may not be bad, a dangerous precedent. You're right. And, you know, it shows how big tech is. Is big tech several things? One, now we have to figure out, is big tech a utility or is it not? Is big tech, you know, the public square or is it not? What about, you know, 230, right? What do we do about that? You know, are they just platforms and not responsible, or are they responsible? I think it's a real issue, and I'm hoping, I'm not sure, but I am really hoping, Joseph, that we can answer those questions this year and clarify this so we don't have this problem in the future. The advantage that we could pull from this disaster that's happening right now is we could clarify exactly what to do so that the precedent is actually a good precedent and not a dangerous one. I mean, that's, yes, absolutely. So let's see if I can keep going on here. Absolutely wrong. Those that are pushing for anything like that don't have a grasp of this country and its foundings at all, and will not stop when this country is in ruins. You know, Matt, there's a lot of truth to that, but there's a but here. I think most of the people who are doing this, they don't believe they're making a mistake. I think many of them believe that they're doing the right thing. They're doing the wrong thing. But I think many of them believe they're doing the right thing. You know, there's the problem that we have now is the black and white thinking is the left thinks the right's evil and the right thinks the left's evil. And there are absolutely people on both sides who are evil. They exist. Of course they do. But the average person who leans left or leans right is by no means evil. In fact, they're trying to be righteous and correct. They're just often misguided. So you're right in that they're pushing it. But I don't think they don't have a grasp. I think they're afraid of losing what they believe is, you know, what's happening. I think they're afraid of that. And I hope it's not going to go into ruins, but that is my concern. It's a valid point, Matt. Thank you. So it's got to stop. Let's do that now. That's one of the reasons why I'm having this conversation. I hope you're going to have more conversations with your family and your friends. I hope we're going to push this out so we can start having this conversation, because it does have to stop. The question is where? Look, do we want to punish people when they do bad things? I think we do. And there's an and here. And we don't want to punish people who happen to be in the area because they happen to be there. That's a bad idea. And we want to heal so that we don't have this happen again. We think, and you hear it in how we talk, oh, if we use enough violence, enough walls, or enough troops, then we'll stop it, right? So the Democrats didn't like walls when it came to the border, but man, around the Capitol, they're all about walls and fencing. Do it. The more the merrier, right? No, none of the walls work if you have the right environment. You have the right system and the right environment, and you don't need walls, right? You don't need them if you have the right system and the right environment, and that works on the border, and that works in the Capitol. When you have crappy systems, you need a wall, right? That's how it works. Bad system, you need a wall. Good system, don't need the wall. Not required. To me, it's the extreme hate that needs to be canceled. Ooh, I like that, Samantha. We have to cancel the hate. That should be a hashtag or something, shouldn't it? Am I too old to figure that one out? I like that one. It's very good, Samantha. Very good. It's the extreme hate that needs to be canceled. Absolutely. My mom always told me it's the few who ruin it for the many. Yep. It's not right, but people always focus on the bad. And I'm trying not to. That's exactly my point. I'm trying not to. Let me show you what a perfect example is, Alexander. This is I'm sorry, Andrea. This is Chuck Schumer talking about see if I can find, yeah, there we go. Chuck Schumer talking about how he's going to put these people on the list and how bad they are. And same thing. Hold on real fast if I grab this one.
So we know that many stormed and breached the Capitol.
They stormed and breached the Capitol
Days ago, and then they traveled afar. They were on airplanes.
Yep.
And some were arrested when they arrived at airports.
Yep.
One person was arrested as far away as Hawaii.
Yep, that's America, by the way.
There are many examples of travel, and we have seen online, and the authorities have seen online, desires to come back to Washington and to go to other places to cause more trouble and more violence.
I'm not sure about the violence part. By the way, this, for those who don't know this area, that's Walensky's Grill. That's Third Avenue. Yes, Third Avenue. That's Third Avenue in Manhattan. Probably around, I'm going to guess 50th Street in that area. I'm not sure. Walensky's is in around 50th, some in that area. So around 50th Street or so in that area. And Third Avenue. He's there in Manhattan, and someone yelled, "Traitor." There are people who support Trump in New York City. We think there aren't, but that guy just yelled "traitor." Somebody supports Trump there.
And there are many examples of this kind of travel. There are many examples of this kind of travel. So here we are today, and we are concerned about these people getting back on airplanes.
He has to read the whole thing. You're a senator. You can't do this part live without...
And doing more violence. And so he today, ahead of the concern for possible future attack.
Possible future attacks, of course.
And with the law on our side, we are to say that these insurrectionists, many of whom are known to be at large, should not be able to hop on a flight.
Look at that.
We are here today because the folks, the people, the insurrectionists, who breached the U.S. Capitol fall under the definition of threats to the homeland and should be immediately added to the TSA no-fly list.
There it is. The TSA no-fly list. There it is. So you guys who were on the right when the libertarians were yelling, "This is a terrible idea. TSA, terrible idea. No-fly list, terrible idea. Patriot Act, terrible idea." Well, here it is to come home. Here it is to come home. It was wrong to put any American on that list without due process. It's wrong to put these guys on a list without due process. He's like, these people might do something, so put on a no-fly list. Now they can't do anything. He just said they were arresting them at the airport. Let them go to the airport. That's where you'll catch them if they're really bad guys. If they're just people who you happen to put on, you can. If you remember, I think it's 2 days ago when they took down, it was a Facebook where they took down Ron Paul's page. I told you what happened before they said this. I said it was actually a mistake. They're going to give it back to them. What happened is when you have zero tolerance policies, that the person who's there was like, should I or should I not? I will. Take them off. Let them fight later. Because if something goes wrong, I'm fired. So I'm putting them on. I have a choice of canceling or not. I'm canceling. And they did it. And then later on, they were like, oh, that was a mistake. Whoops. And they put it back on. Well, yeah, you're a former congressman. You're a popular person like Ron Paul. You can make that happen. What happens when it's your page? You don't have that kind of pull. You don't have that kind of leverage. They're not sure? Cancel you. You're gone. No fly list. If they're not sure if you were there, was that really you, Will? Or was that not you, William? Maybe that was William. It was William. Put him on a list. They're going to put you on a list first, ask questions later. That's how zero tolerance works. That's how cancel culture works. Cancel first, ask questions later. That's a perfect example of that. He's like, yeah, just, there might be something later at one point. Cancel. It's a problem. And it bothers me so much. The root of the entire conflict we're seeing is a single lie, that Donald Trump won the election. That's it. That's everything. And until this lie has been repudiated, there can be no progress, no healing, no unity. Let me explain why. Donald Trump has been lying his entire life. We don't need to recapitulate this argument. But from draft dodging to bankruptcies to his organization crowd size to COVID disappearing, Trump's mode of lying is substantially different from anything we've ever. And he put a bunch. I don't think I can find that. I don't think I can finish that one. But I get your point, George. I do. I get your point. And what I would say is, and why I haven't fought this issue, there's nothing I could say that would convince those who believe Trump lost that he won. There's nothing I could say that will convince people who believe Trump won that he lost. I can't do that. They're not going to go, wait a minute, Larry Sharpe said it? Oh, now it must be true. It's not going to happen. And I try my best to fight battles I can win. I try my best to look to the future. While that is a huge issue, and that's the crux, it's all built upon us hating each other. That's what it's actually built upon. It's all built upon us hating each other. And people will go, well, Trump was a horrible mistake. Well, who got us Trump? Obama. Well, Biden's a disaster. Who got us Biden? Trump. Who got us Obama? Bush. Each of these people got us the next one. And it just began to increase the hate from each side. The problem you're saying, George, is you can show all the data you want that shows that Trump won or that Trump lost. You can show the data. But if I think Trump won, I'm only going to see data that shows Trump won. If I think Trump lost, I'm only going to see the data. I'm only going to see data that says Trump lost. That's it. So how do we do this? We heal so that now we can have a real conversation. And now when I show data, someone will go, oh, it might be right because Larry doesn't have an agenda. George, the way you put that up there, anyone who thinks Trump won thinks you have an agenda and they're not going to hear you. Anything you said, they're not going to hear. And anyone who thinks Trump lost is like, yep, that guy's right, 100%. I'm trying my best to be a place where we can both talk and not hate each other because there are so few places that are like that. So few places. As libertarians, we don't have a problem speaking up on right or wrong regardless of the party. I know it confuses them, but I think it sometimes resonates too. Yes, I'm with you, Tom. I think so. Yes. If you went inside, you should probably be fired. That actually that made something like that. I'm not sure if that's true, but yeah, I could see that, right? I could see that you have a rule that says once you cross the line, whatever that line is, there is a penalty. But the other issue is, I think you should only be fired. It's my personal view. If you somehow have hurt the company, right? Say, for example, you work for a large organization and you're not client facing. You only work inside the warehouse, as an example, and clients don't go into the warehouse. Or you only work in accounting and clients don't go in accounting. And you didn't bring your company badge, as some guys did. You didn't bring your company badge. You weren't wearing your company, shirt. You're some guy or some gal who did that. Should I really fire you? I shouldn't. I get if people do, but I shouldn't. Now, you went in there with the company shirt going, I work for Acme Company and Trump's awesome. Yeah, you got to be fired, right? If you're doing that, you got to go. Whether I support Trump or not, you can't throw my company through that. I got to fire you now. But if you didn't do that, I'm not sure. And the reason why I'm so against the massive firing is, say you fire 500 people. Say you do that. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to fire you. Those 100 people now, first off, go on a dole. So now we're paying for them, right? Because they're going to go on unemployment or whatever. Now we're paying for them. So financially, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather have them working, number one, just financially. But I'll go one step further. Now they hate the system even more, because now they got fired for it. So now 500 more people hate the system. At least half of those people have families who depend on them for at least partial, if not a bunch of their income. And all those companies, at least a couple of those people are talented at what they do, now have lost talent. You've hurt a lot of people and probably solved nothing. But if you solve something with it, if there was a way of solving it by doing it, sure. And I know you're going to say, but Larry, they made a mistake. And I'll give you a business example I've talked about. This is a common story that people talk about. It depends upon the person, but it's a common story. I was with a guy once and talking to him about one of his employees. He's like, I got to fire my employee and I feel bad, but I got to fire him. And I said, why? Because he made this mistake and I forgot the number, but I'm going to make a number up. He made a $30,000 mistake. I got to fire him. And I said, is he a bad employee? No, but it's a big screw up. And I said, so you just paid $30,000 to train him. And now you're going to fire him and give him to somebody else. You can give somebody else a good employee. You just spent $30,000 in training. And he was like, yeah, that's the actual outcome of your righteous indignation. The actual outcome is you just spent $30,000 to train somebody else's good employee. And now you're going to have to hire somebody else and hope they're better. That doesn't make any sense. So I get what you're saying, James. And there probably should be some rule on you once you cross something that you get fired. Or if you went there showing your company, that's a bad employee, you got to go. But if you didn't do that, I'm not sure. But I would buy that, right? If that's the rule you make, I would buy that, right? Or if you broke something, or if you stole something, right? Those guys smashing windows, those guys stealing stuff. Yeah, I think you have to at that point. Absolutely. So Barbara's mad at somebody. I'm not sure who you're mad at. Am I the a-hole or somebody else? I'm not sure. I don't know where that falls. If it's me, I hope you still stay. I am sometimes, and people do call me that. So in any case, move to Maryland. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. If you showed up, that's America. I hope you're wrong, Fred. I know people say it. I hope you're wrong. I don't want that to be the answer. This country has been through a civil war before, and it really, we're still dealing with it now 150 years later, almost 20 years, 150 years, 160 some odd years later, right? We're going to have another one? We'll deal with that one for 300 years. I'll pass. No violence. Let's have conversations. Absolutely. It all comes back to checks and balances, and now there will be none, just like there's been in New York. Man, Walter, I hate that you are right. I've been saying that. Some of you people don't live in New York. You're all like, why do I care about New York? And this is why. Because what happens in New York goes every place else, right? The real battleground states, New York and California. Those are the real battleground states. Not that Pennsylvania and Michigan. Those aren't battleground states. These are the battleground states. This is where we're holding the line or we're losing. That's why I'm still here trying my best to hold the line. Isn't it amazing that people support a free market until it doesn't support their view anymore and refuses them service? Hey, they can still find greater service that is okay with their particular point of view. I think that there's some truth to that. However, there's a however on this one, Marcus, because when it comes to the internet, there are just some massive monopolies that make it, virtually impossible. Not virtually, but very hard. I shouldn't say impossible. That's hyperbole. Making it very hard to compete. Rules, regulations, those who control things. Remember something. The largest search engine in America is Google. The second largest is YouTube, owned by Google. Someone owns both. Imagine someone owns Coke and Pepsi. You own Coke and you own Pepsi, and now you want to try to compete against them in a soda market? Is it impossible? No. Is it hard? Yeah. Yeah. And then you know what? Walmart, which sells the most soda, I made it up, I don't know if it's true, but for the sake of my argument, it's true, sells the most soda and requires regulations to go on your cans that Pepsi and Coke already have, but you can't afford to put into play. So you can't get sold in Walmart now. Wow, it's hard for you to compete. Wow, it's hard for you to grow. Yeah. And now banking regulations pop in for you if you want to start financing your company. That the big guys create rules and regulations that they know, and if you make one mistake, you get fined. You can't afford to get fined. You don't have a profit margin that's worth anything. The second you get fined, your company goes under. That happens all the time. So I get what you're talking about the free market. I do. Obviously, I'm a libertarian, I'm a free marketer. I'm also looking at the reality of there's some oligarchic monopolistic stuff going on that we don't often talk about. And I think part of that is going to be how we deal with the Article 230. That also, yes. So there's supposed to be riots in our nation's capitals all over the states from what I read and saw in the news. If it's that true, it's not going to happen. I mean, if it's that open, right? So I don't know. So what are your thoughts on what's happening at Yao? I wasn't going to bring up Yao. I was talking about this stuff, but I'll bring it up. I don't know. I don't work that much with Yao, to be forward with you. I hope that it's all miscommunication. I hope that none of it's true. But I don't know. So obviously we definitely have issues and problems in this world with harassment and taking advantage of people. It's a real thing. I think we should take every accusation seriously, absolutely seriously. Do an investigation and with an answer. I hope it's all miscommunication. I like Yao. I don't want Yao to go down, and I hope they won't. I like Cliff. I hope Cliff won't go down. I like Cliff. I hope he doesn't go down. I hope it's all miscommunication. But I can't take a stand on something I don't work close enough with Yao to know what happened. I hope it's not a cop-out. I'm trying to be honest. I like Cliff. I don't want it to be true. I hope it's all miscommunication. And I like Yao. I hope they don't go down for this. We'll see. But on top of that, I want to be clear. You should take every allegation seriously. I'm not one of those believe women, but I am respect women and take their allegations seriously. Absolutely. Respect women and take their allegations seriously. You don't believe them automatically. Women can lie just like men. Everybody can lie. Respect, take it seriously, see what happens. I hope that was a good enough answer for you. So, all right. In other news, Amash is following me on Twitter. Look at you, man. Pete, it's every time you keep talking about the debt. That's what it is, Pete. That's how it worked. Absolutely, yes. John, I thought you want me canceled. You still on? Stay on, John, please, even if you get me canceled. This is just like the age old. I did not speak because I was not X. Yes, absolutely. And then they came for me. There was no one to speak for me. This applies to all of us, left, right, wrong, libertarians. Yes, I agree, John. And I hope that for many of us libertarians who were against all this stuff, years ago, I hope some people see us as not being hypocrites. I hope they see us as, yeah, right. You've been talking about this stuff, Larry. You were mad when it was somebody else, and now you're mad when it's them. Yes, I don't like anyone getting this, right? I am absolutely not a don't tread on me guy. I'm not. Nope. I'm a don't tread on anyone guy. Just don't tread. Unless somebody wants to be tread upon. Then again, consent, enjoy, do you. But with the exception of that, don't tread on anyone. I don't want anyone being tread upon, to include these guys. Absolutely. So, you do what the party says or you get punished. This is true, Caleb. You go outside without your mask, punished. You protest without permission from the party, punished. You speak hate against the party or their goals, punished. Whether that punishment is home, arrest, prison, not hireable, or whatever, so be it. We need peace and order, and these terrorist, right-leaning people need to understand their views. Being open will bring them punishment. Man, I don't know how to handle that one, Caleb. I get what you're saying. I think a lot of it's true. I don't like it. Doesn't mean it's not true. Just because I don't like it doesn't all of a sudden make it false. I don't like it, right? But this is why a lot of people are mad that Trump is taking a beating. I'm not that upset about that. And it's not because I'm anti-Trump. It's because, Trump was playing with the big boys, and that happens, and there's price to pay, and you gain a lot and you lose a lot and you roll the dice and that kind of stuff happens. I get it, right? So I'm not as upset about the Trump issue. And Trump's a big boy. He'll handle it and he'll deal with it. I mean, he's not going to go broke, right? He'll handle it. I'm more worried about the average person, like you're talking about, Caleb, the average Republican who is going to begin to feel even more alienated, right? The left has gone out of its way, and the right hasn't been this either. Very clear. Let me touch both sides. I don't want to sound too pro either side because both sides are guilty of this. Over the summer, I was at a solutionary conference in Atlanta with Maj Touré and many others, but it was sponsored kind of by Maj. He put it all together. And a common thing that most people thought of, most of the people there were Black, some were Hispanic, some were white, but the vast majority were Black. Most were either constitutional conservatives, some of libertarians, and many of them were pro-2A advocates. And the common thread that almost all of them had was the Republican Party is terrible at reaching out to people of color, particularly Black people. It's bad at it. Doesn't have good rhetoric, doesn't speak well to Black people. It doesn't do a good job of it. And sadly, for most Republicans and their party, they're not even trying. I mean, they're doing a bad job and not trying to get better. And that's a problem. And it makes people of color feel alienated from the Republican Party. It's one of the reasons why they feel alienated. Now, the reverse is true, too. The Democratic Party has gone out of its way to alienate white people, particularly white males, out of their way to alienate them. So why would either side go to the other? Why do so many people of color not like the Republican Party? Funny enough, many actually like Trump, relatively. I mean, still was a low percentage, but relatively, but not the Republican Party. And then why are so many white males not like the Democratic Party? Because each side is being so bad in their communication. So even though if you're a Republican, you get punished by the party, where are you going to go? Right? If you're a Trump supporter, particularly if you're a white male Trump supporter, that's who you are. And then Trump gets booted out and the establishment turns on him, which they're doing now. They turn on him and they don't let him run again or whatever. This happens. Are you going to run the Democrats all of a sudden? Wow, no, I'm a Democrat. No, Democrats are going out of their way to make you feel like you're not wanted. Out of their way to make you feel like you are not wanted, not valuable, not important. Out of their way to make you feel like you're terrible. Why aren't we doing the opposite? Why aren't we trying to bring you in? I'm here saying, and I said this to be clear, I said this 9 months ago. I was saying there's going to be violence at the end of this, whether Trump wins or loses. I didn't know who was going to win. I didn't know who to believe. I didn't know what polls to believe. But if Trump had won this thing, Democrats would be all mad and screaming and yelling. They'd be violent too. They'd be burning a city down or something. But they'd be doing something violent too. Of course they would be, whatever, sporadically, just like Republicans are. They'd be mad. And I'd be saying, come to me. I'm here. And now Republicans lost. So they're mad. They're doing the same stuff, violence, whatever. And I'm saying, come to me. I'm here. Democrats aren't saying that to Republicans at all. They're not being open at all. They're in fact doing the opposite. Now you must confess your crimes. Now you must tell us how sorry are you? Tell us now. That's what they're doing now. We're going to punish you. Retribution. Nothing but a bad idea. Absolutely nothing but a bad idea. So I don't know. I don't. You may be right, Caleb. I think you are right, but I just don't like it. I guess this is where my rant went to. I just don't like it. So I would so love if someone came out with a list of corrupt politicians and their crimes. That would be every politician. That would be every politician. That would be a list of 435 people is what it would be at the federal level. I'm sorry, plus president, vice president, all the cabinet. So about 445, 450 in that, whatever. And then it'd be a big list is all I'm saying. A real big list. So yes, but I'm with you. It'd be nice. Maybe they'd have to come up with one, but it would be a really long list. Let's see if I can grab some more. All right. I'm on the fence. I think our election process deserves serious investigation. Jessica, yes, that's true. Whether you think that Trump won or lost, that's true. We need yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. My kid was being bullied in 2nd grade. I told her to give one warning and then defend herself. She was livid. She said it's not the person who starts the fight that gets punished. It's the one who wins the fight that gets in trouble. This is zero tolerance in action. Yes, Shellie, you are correct. Absolutely right. My daughter was in school and she got bullied, right? Some boy was teasing her and bullying her. So she responded, as I told her to do. So she did. And he got mad, feelings hurt, cried, embarrassed, went and told his mom. My daughter got in trouble. Why? Because she backed the bully down, right? She insulted him in front of friends, basically their equivalent of whatever the equivalent of a rank out contest is now, whatever that is. She won in front of her friends. He got mad, told his mom, she got in trouble. So that they brought me in. I told the story before, but it's still true, right? They were like, well, Mr. Sharpe, usually for something like this, we suspend your kid. But, maybe this time I'll be good to you. And I'm like, you're going to suspend my kid for defending herself? Well, yeah, she's supposed to talk to her teacher, blah, blah. So hold on, make sure. You're going to suspend my kid for defending herself. He's like, yeah. I said, suspend her. Suspend her. I'll take her out, give her the day of her life. I'll take a day off. Her and I are going to go out and have a great day. I will teach her. It's a great thing you did. Well done. Well done. He was like, but didn't know how to act. I said, I don't care. Suspend her. What, this one day of suspension is going to affect her life? No. But the lesson that she did the right thing against the system, that lesson is going to last for the next 70 years. I'm in. Let's do it. He was like, no, well, we're not going. And he totally backed off. But you're right. They were going to punish her for standing up. I wasn't going to have it. I was like, fine, suspend her. What do I care? No one's going to remember what happened in whatever 6th grade or whatever it was. You get suspended in 6th grade. You can't have a job now. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Anyway, so I'll keep going. So, all right. Mr. Rogers said that we always have the ability to stop before we do something bad. Ooh, I like that. That's why we should not punish someone for what they might do in the future. There we go. Yes, absolutely. 100%. There are 250 million people over 18 and eligible to vote. It's not just some 74 million Trump voters could be radicalized. It could be a hell of a lot more if we're not careful. So, Tom, you're saying that if we mess this up, those 74 million will radicalize more. Well, it's a couple things there, right? The assumption that you've made in this statement is that only Trump voters are radicalized, which some are. Don't get me wrong, some are. But I think some of the Democrats have radicalized too. I don't think this is just the right issue. It is a right issue, clearly, because the right lost. So they more radicalized, right? When Trump won in 2016, the left just lost. They lost it, and they were totally radicalized. Remember marching and everything, and the hats on, and the whole deal. So the side that loses is usually more radicalized. I think that's true. But I think the left also has some people who radicalize too. My worry is the more we begin to punish, the more we radicalize both sides, because now the left becomes even more emboldened to punish the right. It's already happening. I'll give you one more. This is, and I don't know if this is the left or not, but it's another. This is Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank now is no longer going to do any business with Trump either.
Which, of course, has been Trump's biggest lender for over 20 years, now saying it's not going to do any new business with the Trump family. Now, Deutsche Bank sources telling CNBC that even though it still has outstanding loans of more than $300 million to the Trump organization, those are personally guaranteed by the president. It won't make any new loans or deals with the company. And
so I think we keep moving right now. Now, Deutsche Bank now says, well, we're not doing business with you either. And you owe us $300 million. We're not refinancing. We want our money. Trump's going to struggle to make that happen, right? He's going to struggle to make that happen. Absolutely. It's going to be a problem. But this is the bandwagon, right? And that's the thing I think that's where you're going, Tom, is that you're worried about the bandwagon, that others will jump on board. No, you're worried about, I'm sorry. You're worried about the losers getting radicalized. I am. I'm also worried about the winners jumping on the bandwagon. Now everybody's going to be hammering them. This is actually happening. And this is the part that again, look, Trump played the big game. You got to play the game. I got it, right? But the supporters, that bothers me. Where I'm a little torn on is his family. The Trump family is being socially trashed in New York. If you would go back 8 years, 10 years ago, you know, the Trump family could hang around New York City and be part of all the cool kid clubs, right? All the cool kid clubs. Not anymore. And Vanity Fair did an article on this about how, let's see if I can find it here. Let me grab this real fast if I could. Yeah, this one, it's called, yeah, let me grab this here. This one is here we go. The stink of his family is nearly impossible to get off. Jared and Ivanka's final chapter in Washington demolished their future. And they mean future in the social world, right? That's an issue for them. They've been socially just pushed to the side. So they're getting hammered too there. That's the bandwagon thing I'm talking about, Tom. So I think there's a problem for both sides. We already have enough hate on both sides. I don't want to make it worse. And the problem is I don't know how to do that without just conversation. I don't have a big enough platform. I wish I did, right? Thousands of people watch this show every day, not millions. I wish millions did. If millions watched it every day, maybe I could open up some hearts and minds to have some compassion and the chat with then try to start talking again. Punish the people who did the bad thing and the rest. Rodney King said it. Can't we all just get along? I'm dating myself, aren't I? I'm dating myself. Sorry. But yes, absolutely. So, all right. The country is turning into dictatorship. They are now restricting our freedom of speech, trying to belittle our Second Amendment, and putting us on a no-fly list. What's next? Mike, I wish you were wrong again. I mean, you guys are saying things that are totally correct. It's what I'm worried about. It's what I said. Again, I've been preaching this for years, literally. I didn't want it back then. Now it's worse. The violence doesn't work. Dave Smith said this right. Dave Smith said, I'm going to paraphrase him, but he said something like, do you really want to become violent against the world's most militarized police force? That's not going to go well, right? It's not going to go well. You go violent, it's going to end badly. So let's not go violent. That's what I keep saying. I don't want that civil war people talk about. I hope that's wrong. The thing that all these people don't get, and this is a good and a bad thing, what I'm going to tell you now. A lot of those cops who were in the Capitol, they were Trump supporters. And they saw the people there as almost their kindred spirit. And many of them didn't do a good job. They didn't. They backed off and let this happen. That's a bad thing. However, it's also a good thing. It's both. And please hear me out before you guys yell at me and call me terrible. The bad thing is they took an oath and they shouldn't have done that. The good thing is when the people who are supposed to be oppressing us, the tools that will be used by the government to oppress us, when those individual people go, I don't want to be part of this tool. I don't want to be part of this tool, right? When they send the troops, Mike, to seize our guns, right? When that happens, enough people who are part of that tool go, I'm not part of this tool. I'm not going to do it. No. When that happens, that's when we win. And we only win when enough of those people go, no, Larry Sharpe and those crazy libertarians are right. What am I doing? I'm not doing this. I'm not oppressing. I'm not going to take away someone's Second Amendment rights. I'm not going to put someone on a no-fly list. I'm not going to do it. That guy Mike was right when I saw him on Sharpe Way. I'm not doing it. That's what we have to work towards. And that's not 5 minutes. That's 5 years or more. We have more work to do. And I hope that we can just keep doing that. Absolutely. So, all right. Hopefully prison for all the treasonous traitors and seditionists that question the election. That's a whole lot of people in prison, Caleb. That's a lot of people. That's a lot. I mean, if you really wanted to do that, this comes to the same problem, and I brought this up on my show too. I often bring up this example, and that's Rwanda. For those of you who don't know what happened in Rwanda in the 90s, they had a horrible civil war. And their civil war, because they didn't have the number of guns that we have, most of it was done with machetes and sticks in horrible ways, and 1 million people were killed, most of them physically hacked to death with a machete. Horrible. And people who were fighting each other on the tribes that were made up, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, when I think the Belgians, or was it Dutch? I think it was the Belgians who ran Rwanda. I think Belgians. When they ran Rwanda, they actually decided, hey, you people look a certain way that we like. we're going to call you people this tribe. I think they were the Hutu. I think that's right. The other one was the Tutsis. I forgot which one was which before. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert in Rwandan history, but it was one of the two. They actually split up into Hutu and Tutsis. And as they split them up, it was just because of how the Belgians decided so. And then they decided to kill each other. Over 1 million dead. All right, the problem is now people said, well, you guys are murderers and traitors, and we got to put you all in prison. You're going to put half your male population in prison. Who's going to watch them all? No one's going to be there to rebuild the country. Who's going to rebuild the country? When you got, who's going to run the trials? Who's going to feed them? Who's going to build the prisons? It's impossible. You can't do it. So you have to find other ways of dealing with that. And I think we'll do the same thing here, right? We have to find other ways of dealing with that. So I don't want us to make the things worse. So, all right. Stop watching the mainstream media. I have to. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on. It's waiting for my job. I have to. So Biden's best campaign manager, bad orange man. You know, that, and I was talking about the other day, that's how he ran. He ran literally, his entire campaign was, I am so not Trump. Okay, great. What are you going to do? Doesn't matter. I'm so not Trump. Isn't the orange man bad? He is bad, isn't he? I'm not him. Look, I'm not him. That was his entire campaign. But while you laugh at that, realize that worked. That worked. This is what I've been talking about forever. With the two-party system this deeply, divided, it's all about, I'm not the other guy. I'll protect you from the other guy. And this last election was the perfect example of that, as all he yelled was, I'm not Trump. See? And it worked. It literally worked. I'm not Trump. Check. Done. Yes. I used to tease and I would say he could be a ham sandwich because people would say, Democrats can't vote for Biden. He's this or he's that. I said, he's only one thing that matters. He's not Trump. It doesn't matter. They could nominate a ham sandwich. And people will go, ham sandwich. Is that a Trump ham sandwich? It's not. Checkbox. I'll vote for that. So, yeah, absolutely. All right. Let me see if I keep going here. Just like those who insist that family court is fair. I'm not sure where you are with them, Jessica, but without question, family court's not fair. That's true. Yes. So, all right. So if I can do this. Divide and conquer keeps the rich in power. Yes, it does. Absolutely. So all Trump supporters are insurgents now. Is that your solution? Take away their freedoms. You really think that's a wise move? You are libertarian? I think you mean, are you libertarian? I don't know if that was for me or not. I can't tell sometimes as these come pouring in, all the comments come pouring in. If it's for me, I would never say all Trump supporters are insurgents. I know some people are saying that. And that's my problem, right? If you're going to say the people who went there specifically to hurt and broke in, those people are insurgents and are bad and should be punished. Those specific people. But if you happen to be there, why are you getting by guilt? You supported Trump, so you went down to his rally and yelled, yay, Trump. Okay, that's a crime? Not in my eyes. Not in my eyes. You said, I'm going to go down there and beat up some people or do harm to people, and you went down there and knocked on the door to go get it? Yeah, that's crime. That's all I say. And even with that, I don't want to take away their freedoms unless they're convicted. You're convicted, take away your freedoms. If not that, I don't even want that either. I don't think it's a wise move at all. I think it's actually hurtful. I think I want to make sure that we have a chance at healing to the best of our ability. That's what I really want. So, yes. So, let's see here. I have an idea. Why not do the election again and include Joe Jorgensen this time? I like that idea. I love that idea, Gene. I'm with you. Let's do that. Absolutely. Yes. I love that. Yeah. They have people that were invited inside, though. I did see that, Lori. I saw some people that were like, come on in. I don't know who that was. Were those cops? I don't know who those people were. I actually don't know. So, all right. It's funny how it was the people's house until the people got into it. There's a piece that bothers me about this tremendously, Pete. And the amount of times that government has used its power on the people and crushed people without caring is insane. I mean, no one can name the amount. But all of a sudden they came home, and boy, they were not happy. They were not happy at all, because now it affected them. I agree. Now all of a sudden it's, I can't believe you came after me, as they're cowering in the corners and such. And I get it, but it's still BS. Look, we have to respect each other. Speaking of respecting each other, listen to this if you would. Larry Sharpe here, host of the Sharpe Way show, and boy, do we need to start coming together and healing now more than ever. Best way to do that? Respect. We got to respect each other so we can start to come together. How can we facilitate that? Head over to the advocates.org/human respect tests. Yes, there's a test for human respect. You didn't think there was? There is. Take that test. About 3 minutes. That's it. It's done. Share it online. Share it on your social media. Let other people see it. Let them take the test. Share it with others. Let's start talking about respect. Let's start talking about healing. Let's find the right answer for us to move forward. The advocates.org human respect tests. And you can take that cool test by clicking in the link that's in the show notes. Please do that. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can see it up there. Click in the description, click on that, and you can go ahead and take that test. Share it with others. It's a good idea to share it with others if you can. All right, I'm going to keep going here. The problem is, after 4 years of calling Trump Hitler, then using COVID to mail out millions of ballots, then change last minute signature verification and due dates, we will never know who really won, because the establishment wants us to believe the system is safe, because if we knew the truth, we would demand change, and that change risks their power. There's a lot in that one, William. And a lot of it, yeah. Let me grab a couple of those. I'll go one step further on each side of that. The first piece is, after Trump won, a lot of people who voted for Trump in 2016, a lot of them didn't actually like Trump. They just hated Hillary, right? They were a big chunk. I don't know the percentage. For the sake of argument, I'm just going to say a third, and a third, right? A third of people actually love Trump. A third were Republicans and just voted Republican. And a third were like, oh my God, Hillary's terrible. Right? I'm making that up for the sake of argument. I don't know what the actual numbers are. So that's a big chunk of people who are that way. And when Trump won, the left didn't say, wow, we had Hillary Clinton, who in our view, if you're a Democrat, was the most qualified person on the planet to run for president, and we lost. What the hell did we do wrong? Was it her? Was it us? No. They said, it's all because Trump people are racist. They're all bigots. They're all Nazis. He's Hitler. That was the response from the left. And CNN doubled down. For those of you who remember CNN prior to Trump, CNN's been left, but it was never far left. It was like regular left, right? MSNBC was far left. CNN was just like regular left. Trump won. CNN said, all the way left. They said, MSNBC, get out of the way. Let me show you what's up. That's what they did. So all of a sudden that happened. So now those 2/3 or whatever Trump supporters, who weren't hardcore Trump supporters then, they were either Republicans, just hated Hillary, got that whole blast of, you're a bigot, you're racist, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist. They got that whole blast of that. And then what did they do? They said, to hell with you. I am supporting Trump. And they became hardcore. If you look at actually the percentage of people who liked Trump prior to the election, it wasn't that many Republicans. Maybe 20-25% of Republicans were like, we're all about Trump. That's about it. After the election and 3 years later, it was like 80%. A Republican was like, yeah, we're all about Trump. What happened? That is like literally not supposed to happen ever. And it did. So I think that part's 100% true. The mail-in part, we could have fixed that. And here you're right. The establishment wanted us to believe that was safe. The problem is they could have. And I spoke about this months ago. Once COVID hit, we knew there was probably going to be a bunch of people afraid to go to vote. So we'd have to have more mail-in ballots. I didn't know how many. I think back then we thought it was going to be 30 million or 10 million or whatever the number was back then. We thought that. And I literally said, you could find a way of making it safe that everyone would understand and believe it. William, they could have just said, we're going to use, KPMG or BDO or PricewaterhouseCoopers to audit this, or maybe even both to counter order each other or whatever. These are people who audit down to the penny on billions of dollars. It's their job. It's what they do. Then take those people, whichever ones you agree, and have Democrats, Republicans, Greens, Libertarians together and talk about what's the plan, how it's going to work, who's in charge, what are repercussions if they do it wrong. These guys in these companies, they're fiduciaries. If they screw up, they go to jail. They go to jail. These are the guys who take care of our lottery systems, right? That's what they do. Then have one or two of them, whatever's appropriate to you, two-man integrity if you want, and then have companies like UPS or FedEx or whatever track, or Amazon even, track every ballot, where it's going, make sure there's no matches. It's what they do for a living. If we had thought of this 6 months before the election, by the time the election came, we could have had a system that was fair, transparent, auditable. We could audit it if we wanted to, that we would know we could track it if we wanted to. That actually could have happened. So we could have happened. But you're right, we didn't. But you think we didn't. You're saying that we didn't because it would demand change. I'm not sure that's the reason. I think the actual reason is they didn't want to have a system so we could fight. Because if they divide and conquer, they stay in power. They don't have to be good. They can keep just going, I'm not the other guy. They don't have to have policies or do anything. I think they didn't make that happen, which could have happened. That would have made everybody satisfied. They could have done that. They wanted to keep us fighting. I really believe that. So maybe you're right, but that's what I see. Banning Trump from Twitter while allowing the Ayatollah of Iran and Louis Farrakhan to spread a genocidal hate talk to kill Jews. Give me a break. No Trump fan, but this is pure insanity and hypocrisy. Well, the logic behind it that they will tell you is those two people don't inspire hate. I'm not sure I'm buying that argument, but that's their argument. That's what they say. They say they don't inspire hate. I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying that's their argument. That's all. But yeah. But look, Twitter has a right to ban Trump if they want to, in theory. The problem is, what are they? Are they responsible for the content or not? Are they a newspaper? Are they the post office? Right? Are they responsible for it or not? And we get protections, but then they do their own thing. It's tough. They got to pick one or the other. That's number one. And number two, are they a monopoly or not? We have to answer those questions, and I hope they'll answer those questions this year. I think they will. I do. I think they will. So, firing people is cancel culture. Yes, which is why I'm concerned about it. You're exactly right. It is. I'm concerned about it. I don't want to fire everybody, right? Again, if you went to that place and you're wearing your company shirt or your company logo or your company ID going, yeah, I'm with Acme Company, and you got to go at that point, right? Because now you're messing with the company brand, and you should know better. That you should have gone with a regular shirt, right? And just be you, and then do you, and whatever it is. But that part's a problem. Create people who have nothing to lose. Oh man, thank you. I always say, when you put desperate people into desperate situations, they do desperate things. This is way better. I like yours. Yours is better than mine. The most dangerous person is the person who has nothing left to lose. 100% true, right? If they have nothing to lose, they're the most dangerous. So yeah, I don't want to push people into that world. Now you don't have a job. Now you can't get hired. What are you going to do? Go, man, I've learned my lesson. I'm a Democrat now. Is that going to happen? No. They're going to get angrier, madder, more desperate. Yes. So, Steve Spicer, the Spice Man. Just like with Russia thing 4 years ago, I don't trust either side on the issue. They both have a lot of reason to lie about it. And the entire election is a cheat from ground up in the first place. That's what there's only ever two people on the debate stage. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of trust issues with the government. A lot. One of the reasons why I couldn't call the election. I didn't know what data to trust. What poll do you trust? I had no idea. One thing I did know, and I'll say constantly, and I still stand by, Trump did not win New York State. I'm sure I know this state better than most people. Trump did not win New York State. That I'm sure of. New York is all about Democrats. They still support Cuomo, who's the worst Democrat in the world. So he didn't win New York State. That I'm sure of. So do you think the theater of adding metal detectors to House was setting a stage for shooting guns next? Yes, I do, William. Yes. How do I know that? Our Governor Cuomo, which I did not, I should have brought this up when I did my Tuesdays with Andy last night. There was just so much in his State of the State that was bad. But one of them is exactly that. You know, we have so much violence now, and we got to protect our cops. All of a sudden now, Cuomo loves cops. Defund the police, and now, cops are the greatest now. He just, wow, he became Rudy Giuliani all of a sudden. Oh, okay. Anyway, so now he loves cops. So now he's talking about, well, the way to stop that is we have too many guns on the street. So he's already talking about more gun control. Like New York doesn't have enough gun control. We're going even further. You are correct, William. That's exactly what was there. Yes, absolutely. Action should have consequences. Yes, my only worry is, Roy, I don't want association to necessarily have consequences, specifically when you will literally have thousands of people that will have to be punished. If those people, and I want to be clear on this, if those people, there were people who had every intention of going down there to do bad things, and they did. Those people should be punished. Their actions deserve consequences. Agreed. My worry is a lot of people just swept up in the emotion of it, and just went, yeah, we're doing this, let's go do this. And they just walked around, yeah, take our country back. They were doing that. Do I want to punish those people? I don't. And I know if you're in Congress, or if you're a Biden supporter and hate Trump, you want to punish them. I get that. I can feel the emotion. I get the emotion. What I'm saying, in the long run, it's not going to be helpful, right? It's not going to be helpful. It's going to make things worse. And I said it during the summer, right? When they were doing a protest in the summer, BLM and all those, same thing. There were people who went out there, and they were out there to agitate and to make bad things happen. And those people should be punished. And the rest of the people who are out there up in the emotions trying to make things happen shouldn't be punished. It's just my view. So I think actions, yes. Association, I think we have to be lenient here. It's Rwanda, right? We've got to be lenient here. So we are a frustrated populace on all sides. 100% yes. And here's the one thing I'll say that is the common theme that goes through all of this. All of this. COVID lockdown. COVID lockdown goes through all of this. If we're not locked down for 3-4 months before George Floyd dies, if we're not locked down before that, the bloody stuff that happened doesn't happen. You can't protest for 5 weeks or however long that was if you got to be to work every day at 9 o'clock in the morning. You just can't do it. Your boss is going to let you. You can't do it. Plus, you're sitting at home, nutty, driving yourself crazy, thinking about what's going on next. You don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God. You're talking to your wall, talking to your cat, and all of a sudden someone goes, let's go outside and protest stuff. You're like, oh, we could do that? We can go, I haven't been out in days. Protest. Who were protesting? BLX? Oh, BLM? BLM, yeah. What's that stand for? Yeah, we love them. We love them. That's what they were doing. A bunch of them. Don't get me wrong. Again, there were people who were bad. Same thing down here. Now we're locked in for 8 months. The election doesn't go the way they want to. And someone goes, we're going down to D.C. Support our president. And guy's like, I'm sitting around here for 8 months feeling like I'm a loser, feeling like I can't get my stuff together. I got a mission. I'm going. And they go on down. And boom, there they go. We're very frustrated. Without the COVID lockdown, neither of these two things happen. They don't happen. That's what that was the spark. I'm sorry, it's not true. Use what Tim O'Connor said. Tim said the lockdown was the tinder. George Floyd was the spark. The lockdown here was the tinder. The election was the spark. Absolutely. So forgetting to forgive people has a long history of failure. Yes, it does. Wow. You guys are rocking it tonight. It's another very good one. Absolutely true. Yes. Sometimes you got to forgive. I brought this example up. I don't know if I brought it up today, but I was speaking about it before. The French Mutiny of 1917. when they were mutinying so bad, there were millions and hundreds of thousands of French soldiers that mutiny. They were shooting their officers, refusing to fight the battle, sitting in the trenches, not moving. It was so bad, the Germans didn't believe it was that bad. The Germans were like, it can't be that bad. If it was that bad, then it couldn't be true. They thought it wasn't true. So the Germans didn't attack in 1917 because they were worried that it was a trap. In reality, if they'd actually attacked in 1917, they'd have walked to Paris because the French army was in mutiny. They were literally shooting their own officers. That's how bad it was. So what did they do? I know, we'll punish them all. We'll put all the French soldiers in jail. No, they said, we're screwing up. They brought in a very popular general. They did kill some people. They did. They hanged about 24 people who were like literally shooting officers. Okay, those guys, bad guys, you got to hang them. I got it. Those guys, they get the rope. The rest of the people, they got mad at, put them back into the line, fixed up some of the ideas, gave them some leave, and went back to fighting a war. And I think we have to do that with the same issue. Have to do that. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can go that. Let's see here. Video proof about fraud in the election. Numbers not matching up. I'm a Trump supporter, but not going to say he would win if there wasn't any fraud. But everyone, and I mean everyone up for election deserves true and legit election. That's true. I do think that we should be investigating. I agree, 100%. I think we should be investigating. Yes, but to be fair with you, if it was rigged now, it was rigged in 2016. There are different things that happened, but similar people were in charge in 2016 that were in charge in 2020. In certain cases, exactly the same people. If they knew it was rigged then it was rigged now. I mean, it hasn't changed. If it's rigged, right? It hasn't changed. In fact, Trump said his words in 2016 after he won. He said, yeah, it's rigged, but I won, so I don't care. His words. You can look it up. He said that. So look, if you're going to take it if you win, you got to take it if you lost. Now, if you're telling me you honestly believe that Trump would have, if he would have won this election, would have been, I won, but it was rigged. So I'd like to have an election do-over because I'm not sure I won legally. He wasn't going to say that. He'd been like, I won again. It's rigged, but so what? I won. That's why I don't feel that bad. If it was rigged, then it's rigged now. If he would have taken the loss or taken the win, he's going to take the one. This is the game he signed up for. This is the game he knew he was playing. He rolled the dice, and that's what happened. So that's my view on that. But with that in mind, there's obviously some issues, clearly some issues, and they should be investigated. That's no doubt. And I said this before. Obviously, Trump doesn't listen to anything I say. But if for some reason he was like, I was his advisor or something, what I would have told him to do is after the court started to, not hear the cases, I would have said, look, Mr. President, say this. Say, okay, I'm going to accept the outcome of the election. I think it's bogus and wrong, and I think it's rigged, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to accept it because the game I played. And Biden's going to take over January 20th. I'm taking myself, my supporters, and all my money, and we are now going to create a commission that is going to show you how bad it is. We're going to prove to you in the next 2 years how corrupt this is. And we're going to show you how the Republican Party should be winning. And do that. And oh my God, people would have thought, oh my God, it's great. Democrats have been like, that's not a bad idea. People would have gotten behind him on this. And if it's as bad as people say it is, and maybe he's right, maybe it's super corrupt. Okay, we would find out in a year and a half or 2 years. He would show the data and we'd be like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. He was right. It was all rigged. He'd be a shoo-in for 2024. Or if it's not rigged, he says, you know what, we did an investigation. It's not rigged. Oh, well. And then this gets put to bed. That would have been the greatest thing he could have done. And I wish he had done that, but he didn't. So now we're dealing with it. Yes. So I've been talking about firing Congress for years because of them making unconscionable mistakes as well as overspending money that's not theirs. But no one seems to want to fire them. We should be firing them. I'm with you, brother. Robert, I'm with you. Absolutely. You're just the guy with the voice that doesn't matter. Sadly, that does happen sometimes, my friend. Hopefully, eventually, someone will stop paying attention. I hope so. So, Trump didn't do shit for family court, and Biden won't either. That's what we need you in there. Thank you, my friend. I completely agree. Neither of them cares that this is destroying our nation, that family court is the most important of all the courts, that if we have stronger, better, tighter families that don't hate each other even after they get divorced, that the hate and the lies are not there. If we actually did that, we'd have less people protesting. We'd have less people angry. We'd have more people doing good things. We'd have better politicians. We'd have more people voting. We'd have less people in criminal court. We'd have less criminals. We'd have a better economy. Everything gets better if the family gets better. And I mean everything gets better if the family gets better. Without question, you are correct, and we should be focusing on that. And I talk about it often. Absolutely, yes. So what about all the people that try to stop the violence? There's video of them trying to stop the breaking of windows and calling them Antifa. It's not bad. Again, right? The people who should be punished are those who planned to go down there and do bad things and did. If you're one of the people who are like, what are you doing? Stop. Why should you be punished? Why should you lose your job? Why should you? None of that. Absolutely none of that. Absolutely. So this is hilarious because it was Republicans who managed to repeal the Civil Rights Act, allowing states to change voting laws. This is true, right? I mean, this is true, Isaac. You're right. Yes, but the federal government reviewing the changes and allowing states to pass laws as fast as they want. This is how Trump won in 2016, and funny enough, how he lost in 2020. This is my point, Isaac. You're totally right. Whatever system was in place in 2016, it was the same system in 2020. And if Trump can take that win, he can take the loss. He can take both. Absolutely. Yes. So there is no peace, no unity. I hope you're wrong. I want that to change. I really do. I really want that to change. Absolutely. I hope that can change. So, all right, let's see. If I can keep going. If New York is holding the line. I'm not saying New York is holding the line, William. I'm saying we have to hold the line here. Because if we don't, every breakthrough that happens in New York, they get into all the rest of the country. Every time they break through our line, it goes to the rest of the country. We're not doing a very good job of holding the line. It's true. But we did a couple, though. Let's show some positiveness, William, to be forward. Right? The Brooklyn Catholics, is it the diocese? I don't know how that works, but Brooklyn Catholics sued and got a Supreme Court and got Cuomo to not be able to reverse the decision to shut down houses of worship. That's a win that's holding the line. Two, I had a guy on last week, one of the lawyers, who beat Cuomo when it came to shutting down gyms, right? A gym won, and so did a laser tag facility. They both won, and they pushed back Cuomo. So, here or there, we do hold the line, man. We don't always, but we're trying, we're fighting, and we sometimes win. And just in case you didn't know that, usually it's libertarians who fight, usually. But others do too. They join us here or there. But yes, they do. So I guess sometimes we do hold the line. Absolutely. So you can't call New York a battleground state when it's called that 1% every single election cycle. Oh, you mean because we're going to, yeah. All right. So it's a good point, Joshua. What I mean by battleground state is not traditionally the way they say, well, it's Pennsylvania and Florida. All that's going to happen with those is that we're going to now get a Democrat now and then a Republican later, right? I know some people were really happy when Trump won, and now some are very happy that Biden won. But the reality of it is this is going to rotate. We're going to get 4 years of Biden and somebody else, right? And if Biden does a decent job and the pendulum hasn't swung back too much, it might be a Democrat. If Biden does a terrible job and he goes too far left, we'll get a Republican, whoever the Republican of the day is, right? We'll get them. Remember, Bush gave us Obama. Obama gave us Trump. Trump gave us Biden. Biden will probably give us either Kamala or Republican of the day, right? Whoever that person is, whatever. Ted Cruz or whoever they're going to give us, whatever. So we're going to get, and they'll rotate back and forth. So you get 4 years if you're left or right, 4 or 8 years of a guy or gal that you can handle, and then 4 or 8 years of someone who you hate. I'd like to stop that. What I meant by battleground was in how far government can push. That's what I meant. And to William, what I was talking about William earlier is we are able to hold the line once in a while. Other states don't have to do that. So, hey, Larry, LA may be a battleground, but some things come to LA last, like fashion. New York is really always ground zero. Ooh, I like that. Yes, New York is ground zero. Very good. Yes, Absolutely. I'm afraid when you take the rights of all people away because I'm afraid. Yes. Remember something, guys. I know a lot of people used to get mad at me as libertarians and say, Larry, you're too nice. You don't get aggressive. Maybe people should be afraid. Maybe they should be shaken up. I hear that all the time. When I tell people, when they tell me that is, every policy that you hate as a libertarian came from people who were afraid. Robert's right. Everyone is because you're afraid. People were afraid. We're afraid. Take away guns. We're afraid. Take away freedoms. We're afraid. War on drugs. We're afraid. War on terror. We're afraid. Gun laws. We're afraid. Add thing here. Whatever you do. We're afraid. No fly lists. We're afraid. Next bad thing. Right? Afraid Americans are the worst. People who are afraid make bad decisions. I don't want bad decisions because they vote our rights away. So if you think the internet is operating under free market function with Google and Amazon, they don't have the slightest idea of what they're talking about. That was my point, right? In theory, it's a free market in theory, but in reality, there are exceptions. Things like Google and Amazon and YouTube and Google owns YouTube, all those things. It really is, there are some exceptions here. Absolutely, there are some exceptions here. So, okay. But Larry, everyone wants to cancel everyone because it feels good, right? And it's cancel culture is actually lazy. It's I'm mad, it feels good to do something, so I'll just cancel that Pete guy I was talking about the national debt. Let's just get him fired. And then I feel good. See, I fired Pete. I feel good. I did something about him. But Pete still thinks the same way. His mind wasn't changed. And the people who believed him still believe him. So now he can't use that thing. He'll use something else. Right? Now he doesn't have enough money, so now he's mad. So every dollar he has now, he takes every dollar he has into making sure his message goes everywhere. I didn't win. I felt good temporarily because I did something, but I didn't win. I didn't convince Pete he's wrong. I didn't convince his followers that he's wrong and actually stop him from doing anything. All I did was feel better. It's lazy. Absolutely. So, all right. Larry, don't always agree with you, but I appreciate your compassion and fairness and willingness to ask questions. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people don't disagree with me, but as I said before, I can have any or all of you at any given time disagree with me or think I'm wrong, right? I'm wrong. What I don't want you to think is that I'm not trustworthy or that I'm a hypocrite. That's what I don't want you to think. If I've done that, then I'm winning, even if you disagree with me, because at least then we can have a conversation. And hopefully at one point you can go, you know what? That guy Larry's wrong on this and wrong on this. But if he says he's going to do that, he'll do that because that's who he is. He believes in that thing and that thing I want to, so I'm in. So I appreciate your words, Clay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So oligarchic, monopolistic stuff. Love it. There we go. Is that what I said? I think that's right. Yes. What's YAL? YAL is Young Americans for Liberty. That's what that is. Young Americans for Liberty. Yes. All right. So there we go. Just said so. Young Americans for Liberty. Thank you, Andrew, for doing that before I got there. 100%. So if I keep going here, Comrade Shea de Blasio, singling out Trump businesses is redundant. He hates any business that gives someone a job. I like that. It's very good. He's the epitome of egomaniac and tyrant. That's true. It gives him a reason to specifically get rid of specific jobs versus just all the jobs. That's correct. Yes, absolutely. 100%. See if I can grab this. Perjury needs to be a top priority in family court. I agree completely. Lying needs to always be punished. Absolutely, completely, yes. All right, so I'm going to grab a couple more here. Larry, don't turn on anyone. Only exceptions to King, Cuomo, and Kaiser Wilhelm, Shea Blasio. That's good. Yes, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't. But again, when you play the tip-top games, there are some issues you deal with. Yes. Punishment doesn't work and should be the motivation. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. What is coming is inevitable. It's becoming ever more clear. I hope you are wrong. I don't know that you're wrong, but I hope you're wrong, and I'm trying my best to make sure that you're not right, that we have another option available. So The woman who was trampled by the mob attack on the Capitol was holding a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. That's what I heard. Oh, it's terrible. And by the way, that woman who died, Ashley, the woman who was shot, I just want to say it again. When those people were shot, many people were shot during the summer riots. Some people got mad at me when I said, these guys don't deserve to be shot. And people got mad. They were like, Larry, it's a clean shot. It's a legal shot. He was supposed to shoot, whatever. What'd you expect? I just didn't say the guy who fired the weapon was wrong. And that, he didn't mean to do it. Or that he was trying to be a bad guy. Maybe he actually felt like he was scared for his life. Maybe it was a clean shot or a legal or just shot. Doesn't mean the receiver deserved it. It's just tragic. The guy who pulled the trigger, he was probably in his right. And the guy who died probably wasn't. But that means the guy who died made a mistake. Doesn't mean he deserved to die. He didn't deserve it. And I say about Ashley too. Was Ashley in the wrong place at the wrong time? Absolutely she was. Wrong place, wrong time. Did that officer who fired her, was it a righteous shot? I don't know. I don't know if it was a justified shot or not. For the sake of argument only, I'm going to say it was. It doesn't mean she deserved it. And if it wasn't a just shot, then even worse. But either way, she didn't deserve it. Right? I wish that we didn't have an environment to where she thought that the right answer was for her to be there at that time. None of them deserve it. I don't want people to die. I just don't. I want people getting shot. I don't want it. Absolutely. Do you think this impeachment is a waste of taxpayer dollars? Would they be doing anything else of value? I don't know. Like, that's not really my issue. They waste so much money. The idea of the waste of taxpayer dollars, I don't know. Do I actually care about impeachment? To be fair with you, not that much. I'm not hardcore for or against it. I understand if you're a Democrat why you want to do it, right? I understand. You got Donald Trump down. You want to finish him off. You want to make sure he doesn't get back up. If anybody's resilient enough to get back up, it's Donald Trump. And if you're a Democrat, you want to finish him off. I get it. You got him on his knees. You want to finish him off. That it makes political sense if you're a Democrat to impeach him because you want to finish him off. Absolutely, that makes total political sense. Is it the right thing? It feels like a waste to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't have a strong feeling either way, right? Does Trump actually care personally about being impeached? No. He personally doesn't care, I'm sure. He's just upset again. He'll be worried if he gets convicted or if there's something in it where he can't run again. Then that's going to be a problem. Then he'll be upset. Otherwise, just be mad at him and whatever. He'll move on. So it's not a big deal to me, to be forward. I know some people get mad. They really like, got to impeach him no matter what. And some people are like, why? It's a big waste of money. The money part's the least of my issues. They're getting paid the same no matter what. They'd be doing garbage, useless stuff anyway. They throw much more money of ours away anyway. The taxpayer piece doesn't matter to me because it's just so much of it. So it isn't a big deal at all. So, all right. See if I can keep doing this here. If the rioters in the 6th are terrorists, so be it. Then we have to call Antifa rioters that burned our cities this summer are also terrorists. Thanks. And what I'm saying is yes to both or no to both. You're right. And I was saying the same thing. I said it then and I say it now. You happen to be there. You're good. Move on. You went down there to start trouble and then started trouble. Pay for that. That's where I go. Yes, absolutely. Larry, Trump is not a big boy. LaDonald's a big baby, so a loser. There's a part of him that is. He does not like to lose. There's a part of him that is. What I meant was he'll get over this, is what I meant. He will. That I guess I should have been clearer on that. He is a sore loser. And he said it. I mean, this isn't like he doesn't know that. He's literally said that he hates to lose. He's a big sore loser. If I remember his words, he was like, when I lose, I whine until I win, or something similar to that. He's actually said that. So yeah, I agree with you, but I meant he'll get over this. He'll move past this, whatever it is. He'll move past it. Yes. So let me see if I can grab this one here. Wow, Larry, what's next for you to say? There are good people on both sides. Don't go there. I didn't say there are good people on both. It's not what I said. What I said is there are people who did bad things, and those people should be punished. and there are people who are caught up in stuff, and they're by association. And I don't want to punish the people who were there by association. It isn't the right answer. It's not helpful. I mean, and that's why I brought up the issue of Rwanda. There were people, thousands upon thousands of people, who literally hacked people to death. Thousands and tens of thousands who did this in this civil war. It wasn't a declared war. Do you put them all in jail? How? Do you put 100,000 people in jail? Who feeds them? Who clothes them? Do you execute them all? Mass execution? How do you handle that situation? I know we're not Rwanda, but Rwanda decided to go with things like apology courts, like local ways of fixing things. It was not the perfect answer. There were terrible things that happened even in those things. But it was basically the best option they could find, other than put a third of your male population in prison and take another third to watch them all and then try to rebuild your country. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I want to heal and rebuild. I can't do that if I'm throwing 5,000 people in jail. That's not the right answer. I didn't like the war on drugs. I don't want this war either. Prison is not the only answer. There are better answers. That's what I mean. Hope that was clearer at least. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to answer the question to the best of my ability without dodging it. I don't want to dodge it. But I also don't want to go one side's right and punish them all. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. I don't like the idea of doing that. So, all right. That's someone else. I'm sorry. Different one. I apologize for that. Took the test, libertarian anarchist over here. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Please pass it around if you would. I was in Philly with Steve Sheets, on election night specifically, looking to verify allegations of busloads of people coming over from Jersey. There is no evidence, and they would have had to cast provisional ballots in PA, which are checked. Interesting. So some data for you guys. See, there's some data for you guys to enjoy. Absolutely. Okay. A lot. You guys going back and forth a lot. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. See if I can grab a couple more here. Why do people end up desperate? Most of the time, people end up desperate when they become helpless or hopeless. Right? That's the most important part. When people become hopeless, that's when they're desperate. People can be desperate whether they're wealthy or not wealthy, or poor or rich, or have family or not. It's when they feel hopeless. Desperation is actually emotional more than it is physical, right? Someone could be in a very tough spot and still feel in control and feel that they can fix it and feel all those things, in which case they're not desperate. But once you feel like nothing works and you have no chance and no way to get better, that's when you feel desperate. You feel hopeless. That's when you do desperate things. And I think we want to go out of our way to create an environment to where the least amount of people feel desperate. That's what I think we want to do more than anything. I hope that answered your question. So yeah. All right, guys, I want to say thank you so much for today. I appreciate it. It's really, I love all the comments and the stuff. You guys have gone back and forth with so much stuff. I mean, you've done so much. It's crazy. So at least Chris Cuomo's not the governor. That's true also. Thank you, Paula. So I appreciate all of this. Guys, do me a favor. Follow my sponsors. Do your best if you can. Take that test. It's in the description. Click that link. Take a test and share it. CBD products, you like them, head over to grownselection.com. Purchase the products that you enjoy, oil, powder, whatever you like. Sharpe Way 20% off. Support my sponsors. If you can support the show, if you've got the cash, patreon.com/SharpeWay. $100 goes a long way every month. It really does, to help move this forward. We're picking up new equipment this month to reboot again this February. $10, $25, whatever you got would help. I appreciate it. And always like, comment, share. Thank you guys so much. I have a great guest this week. I'll be talking with her tomorrow, and I will see you all tomorrow, this time at 7. Have a great night.